Okay, welcome to the Extended Disc mini webinar. Today's topic is Sales Capacity Assessment Suite, and we're going to focus in on a specific report called the Sales Process and Competence Report. My name is Christina Bowser. Welcome, and I'm the training director here at Extended Disc. I can say this. And joining me today is my colleague Markku Kaupinen, president of Extended Disc North America. Hi, Markku.
Hi, Christina. Nice to see you. Thanks for everybody joining in this webinar.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. For those of you that are just joining, just to let you know, this will be recorded. So if you need to listen to it again or share it, it will be on our YouTube channel, Extended Disc North America. You can also find it in our extendeddisc.org website as well. We usually aren't able to answer your questions live during the session, so we encourage you to put it in the Q&A box and we will follow up with you after the session. So it's a mouthful, Markku, the
Yes,
sales capacity assessments. And the lingo you guys are going to hear, most people start calling it SCA for short. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get started.
Yeah, let's get started, Christina. Yeah, SCA is a lot easier to say, and SCA is one of our assessment suites that is on the Things platform. However, it's not based on the DISC questionnaire, so it has a unique questionnaire. It's a little bit different, has 99 questions, and takes about 25 minutes to complete, and it's designed specifically for salespeople, because what we are measuring are many different things. Obviously, sales competencies, excuse index, sales mindsets, and see how that information gets into many things like the sales process and how the competencies tie to that, and that's what we are talking about today. And not only do you have the individual assessments, but you have team assessments as well. And the good news is this: first, the respondents only have to complete the questionnaire one time, and you are still able to generate all the different reports that you need to and want to. You probably never need to use all of them, but you can pick and choose the ones that work best for you for different times and for your unique needs. And here's the better news. You only pay once. We don't charge per report. We charge, just like with our DISC assessments, we charge per person. And of course, we have other options as well, like unlimited use license, etc. All of that is also available with the SCA assessment suite.
And I'm sure many of you are joining us today because you heard that there was a new sales report. And what's great is there is a new sales report, but it's one of many options that's available to you today. So with the sales report, and I didn't list them all here, and we have lists if you're interested, but this is one of many different types of sales reports that's based on the sales capacity assessment questionnaire. And what's great about it is you use one report, you can use multiple reports, you can use, like Markku was saying, the team reports, but really the information is simply presented in ways that make it useful for you to use. So, and those are how we kind of break down the different reports. If you're interested in the different types of reports, check out our webinars or else just contact us directly. Okay, Markku, do you want to kind of start to highlight the sales process and competence report?
Yeah, here we are looking at the sales process, and we're dividing it two major sections: pre-sale and post-sale. The pre-sale is from the initial contact, or actually really even before then, we evaluate the lead, and then we go from initial contact all the way then we get the money, we close the sale. Post-sale is everything after. How do we really get the client to have a successful first experience and experiences with this product or service? And how do we make sure we provide and deliver good service? And more importantly, how do we expand that relationship beyond that initial sale? Might be different divisions, different products or services that we have, but those are the main categories, again, pre and post sale. And different organizations tend to have different sales processes, but overall, this really is general enough, yet specific enough that really most of your organizations should have a sales process that really closely ties to this. Now, one thing that I have heard a lot lately is that in this new sales environment where we are not able to have those face-to-face meetings, really the sales competencies and understanding how to develop them has become even more important, because it is more challenging in some ways to sell in this virtual environment. However, the fundamentals remain the same, and the information we provide, really what we are hearing from our clients, is more applicable now than ever before.
Yeah, and I think as Markku mentioned, because of the current climate, it's kind of forced us to reevaluate how we conduct the sales process. So we just tell you, sometimes if you just take a little bit of your time up front to kind of look at your own sales process, and that way it's easy for you to compare and then use what's in this report.
Yeah, there's a little bit of learning curve here, but the good news is that there's a lot of efficiencies available now. You don't have to spend your time traveling, waiting for the next flight, typically a delayed flight on the airport. You are able to do things like what we are doing right now on the Zoom or other platforms, on the phone, email. So you save a lot of time, but there is a learning curve to really understand how my competencies and my sales behaviors need to be adjusted to this new environment. And the ones who are making those adjustments and are really developing their competencies now are the ones who are going to be way ahead of the curve, because I believe this virtual sales environment, for some level at least, is here to stay because of especially those efficiencies. Once we learn to sell like this, why should we spend our time and money to be traveling and trying to make all of those face-to-face meetings when it's not necessary?
Yes, we're always looking for that new competitive advantage. All right, Markku, you want to talk about this particular section of the report?
Yeah, the way it ties here to our competencies is that the sales capacity assessment measures 18 different sales competencies. We'll see some of those in a moment, but here in the competency and sales process kind of a matrix, when we put them together, we are able to look at where are the strengths, small strengths, medium, small risk, and risks for each salesperson in these different stages of the sales process. Lead evaluation, initial contact, face-to-face, closing in the pre-sale, and then piloting, maintenance, and expansion in the post-sale. So for like looking at this individual here, for lead evaluation, they have 7 strengths. They have 6 small strengths and so on, and we get an overall score of 14. That's a pretty good score. So we can very quickly, if you look at that right column, see where the strengths of this individual is in the different stages of the sales process, and where are the development areas where we may need to do some work and have some accountabilities built in. You can see quickly where this person is very, very comfortable. But this individual, the strengths are in lead evaluation and closing, and then in the expansion stage. Really where the problem is in the maintenance. This person probably, perhaps it's the lack of patience. Maintaining and kind of cultivating that existing account is an area that they would have some challenges. In fact, they have 6 out of the 18 competencies that are actually what we call risk factors. So that could be an area that we need to be careful with.
Oops, sorry.
The animation
coming now.
but that's good. I mean, we can talk a little bit more. Like looking at the closing, this individual really is quite comfortable with that. That is the greatest strength in the pre-sale stage of the sales process. A lot of strengths in there, only 1 risk and 1 small risk. Certainly we can develop these competencies, and we'll see in a moment how we can really break those down and identify what are the specific areas we need to focus on, and more importantly, what do we need to do to become even more successful. If you go, there you go. Here we have those 18 competencies, and here we're looking at the initial contact. You see that on the top left corner of the page. Here we have those 18 competencies like prospecting, qualifying, building a rapport, and so on. And we break those competencies based on the individual salesperson's competency score. For example, Christina, if you look at prospecting, that number 57%, that is this salesperson's score for prospecting. it creates a small risk. It's not a strength, it's a small risk for this person in the initial contact stage. However, they have a lot of strengths that you see there in screen. For example, I'm looking at the right column now, the third one from the bottom, determined competitiveness, clear strength, money concept at 94%. These are the areas that this person can really utilize in this stage of the selling process. Again, that being the initial contact. Then we also provide information about what are the risks and what can we do about those risks, try to mitigate them to help this individual at the different stages. Here, this person, one of the risks is controlling the sales process because they only get a score of 38% out of obviously possible 100%. That can create a risk. So for this person, we need to really look at that very closely and create a development plan. Now, you may think about this, Christina, say, okay, that's nice, it's a risk, but what do I do? This individual's development report would have all of that information, how to develop this competency so it moves from being a risk, hopefully all the way to becoming that green strength.
And here's just another one. This one is on the post-sales process, which is focused on expansion.
Yeah, this would be the expansion stage. And if you remember, Christina, this individual, I believe they scored 18. And by the way, maximum was 22. So they got 18 on this particular stage of the process in the expansion stage. I'm gonna have a hunch because their closing score was high and the expansion score is the highest. This person really likes to close those deals and really cultivate the relationship where it expands and there is more profit and more revenue to be made. And again, we take those 18 competencies, we can see their competency scores again, like you see that 57% for prospecting. And now we have a clear idea and visual presentation, what kind of impact those competency scores have at this stage, that being the expansion stage in post-sale, on the individual's strength in this area. They have a lot of strengths. There are a couple of small things like building a report, not a very strong area for this individual at only 29%. So these are the kind of things we may want to develop if we determine that this is something that this salesperson, Henry Hunter, should focus on. So the idea here is that, again, we can be very specific. We don't have to guess. What do we need to do to develop in the different stages of the sales process? Nobody can be perfect in all of it because we have our natural competencies and tendencies. We can develop the competencies. Our hardwired behaviors are hardwired, but we can modify behaviors. But we can really create a specific development plan for the sales manager, not only know what to do, where to help, and how to hold them accountable to help them become even more successful.
So thank you, Markku. You can see, as Markku was mentioning, this kind of zeroes in on the information. And then if you needed to kind of expand and take those next steps, you can go to the development report for that particular salesperson. Anything else? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I said you can take a different looks at the salesperson, from the hiring report, for the development report, for the management report, looking at how they're the sales process. Now, we have looked at these in our webinars in the last several weeks. So if you want to learn more about those other reports, just go to our website, extendedthis.org, and there's a link on for webinars. You can find those, and there's several blogs about these as well. And speaking of webinars, we have many of them coming up.
Yes,
what do we have?
We have another one tomorrow, actually. We have one called the My Self-Study Workbook, which is one of our newer DISC assessment tools. It's been very well received along with our other workbook, the My Remote Workers Self-Study Workbook. So if you haven't heard about it, I highly suggest you join us tomorrow to get an introduction. We also have a continuation of our SCA, now that you guys are in the know, summer series, which is the next one we'll focus on is the Team Sales Process Summary Report. And that will be coming up next Tuesday, August 4th at 2 p.m. You can find any of these webinars on our extendeddis.org site. Where on the site, Marku?
Top right-hand corner, click on events, and there you find all the upcoming webinars. And like I always say, even if you can't make the date and time, be sure to register, because we will email you the recording so you can listen to it later at your convenience, or share with colleagues, friends, other people who you believe might find it helpful. So I guess we'll see each other here tomorrow, Christina.
Sounds good. If you guys are interested in learning more about these SCA reports, you can contact us at info@extendeddis.org. Have a great day, guys.
Bye. Thank you.